All right, hello everyone, and thank you for tuning in once again to the Black Box Podcast, BBOR, Black Box Online Radio, coming to you from West Virginia. Okay, so today we're going to be revisiting the case of Lauren Agee, and first, can I give a shout out to Mark Daniels, who left a comment in the comments section correcting me about some of the information, some of the ages of the people involved in this case. Hey, I'm always open to correction, so thank you to Mark. And Lauren Agee, of course, we're not going to go over too much background information so we can get right into the theories. But of course, she is someone who passed away at an event called Wakefest. Lauren was from Tennessee, and there were three suspicions that have surrounded her death. Lauren was found in the water in a lake, but the three people that surround this are Hannah Palmer, Aaron Lilly, and Chris Stout. The most recent upload I did about Lauren Agee was talking about kind of Chris Stout and his character. But one of the things that I like to do on this channel is just kind of the commentary approach where we kind of discuss and examine some things. It's really hard to have a discussion on Lauren Agee without also mentioning Sheila Wysocki, the private investigator who's hosting the Without Warning podcast. And I was just listening to one of the segments that they have on YouTube, which I'll post a link to that in the description box once we're done with the recording. And they're talking about a theory. This theory comes to us from Cassie Franks. Now, what Cassie Franks was the ex-girlfriend of Aaron Lilly. And in this upload, I hope everyone can listen to it because they provide a lot of insight into Aaron's character. Sheila also has an entire upload called Who is Aaron Lilly on YouTube, but they provided a lot of insight into Aaron Lilly's character, such as about him being very controlling, manipulative, even some way, way, way too much information sort of stuff like the way that he likes sex is by like waking up his girlfriend in the middle of the night. That's the thing that he likes the most. He likes to choke girls during sex. But what's all this going to? Well, this is all just kind of significant of the fact that Aaron is just a very manipulative and controlling person. And he can also make girls become kind of manipulative and controlling on his behalf. So says his ex girlfriend Cassie Franks, who has apparently dealt with the situation firsthand. Now, the two theories that we're going to discuss. First one from Cassie Franks, her own theory that she gave at the end of the podcast was that it was Aaron Lilly who made a sexual advance on Lauren Agee. And what happened was that she believes Hannah Palmer was awakened in the middle of the night and saw Aaron and Lauren together. Once again, she dropped that detail about how Aaron likes to wake girls up in the middle of the night for sex. And then she thought that because of Aaron's manipulative personality, Hannah Palmer would have gone after Lauren. She would have viewed Lauren as the person who was at fault. And then they would have wanted to kind of go into some conflict, altercation. Something happens where Lauren is injured, and then the two guys stage the scene. Chris Stout and Aaron Lilly are the ones who just kind of retaliate and or not exactly retaliate, that's not the best word to use. It's more like they would simply stage the scene. I'm trying to say they threw her off a cliff. Or they might have even thrown her off the cliff and then moved the body in the water some extra mileage amount of distance. I think most people are sort of kind of coming to the conclusion of two possibilities that either Lauren was thrown off the cliff by these two individuals, Chris Stout and Aaron Lilly, or that this could have just been some sort of freak accident. And that, they could have, just maybe done something to unintentionally cause her to fall. Even if we're just going to take foul play off the table completely, that, Lauren's very intoxicated and somebody just kind of, maybe somehow caused her to fall accidentally. I mean, I don't know, gave her a tap on the shoulder at the wrong time. I'm just throwing something out there. Because one of the things about this case, and I've received a lot of, flack for this in the comments section, is I want to look at a variety of possibilities. Was this an accident? Was this murder? Was this, some type of somewhere in between, some sort of manslaughter scenario where, once again, was somebody pushed and they weren't trying to kill her, but she ended up falling off the cliff? I want to get to the kind of just go through some of the possibilities. But this one that comes to us from Cassie Franks, this theory that what is the likelihood of this? I mean, I think it's very likely that Aaron Lilly and Lauren Agee got, either not exactly involved, but Aaron Lilly woke Lauren up in the middle of the night to do something, and then Hannah Palmer found out about it, and she went after Lauren. I mean, it's possible, and like furthermore, it's plausible. And I mean, I heard this theory after listening to about 22 minutes of Cassie Franks trying to assault Aaron Lilly's character, so it all made sense in her little narrative. But I said today that we have two theories. Well, in the comments section as well, we were going through some things with between that guy I mentioned, Mark, and I, and it's like the biggest theory that I think that people are looking at in this case that I've heard is that Chris Stout is the one who kind of made the sexual advance on Lauren, which would make sense at first glance. I mean, we have Hannah Palmer and Aaron Lilly who are together. They're a couple, right? Boyfriend, girlfriend. Chris Stout and Lauren Agee not a couple, so what happens? Chris Stout makes an advance on her. We also have the very famous photo of Lauren Agee and Chris Stout together in the hammock. The hammock, if I recall, it's kind of not exactly stationed on the cliffside, but it's hanging over a very steep drop. Like, if you were to fall out of that, you would actually have, some damage done to your body, but like you wouldn't end up in the water. And we know that because of Chris Yarchuk and Sheila Wysocki's test that they did rolling the dummy down the hill. You wouldn't end up in the water. So, when it comes to something like that, the thing that we discussed in the comments section was that Chris Stout made the sexual advance on Lauren in a hammock, and Lauren fell out, and then, she became injured. Chris Stout goes to Aaron Lilly, like, oh crap, what do I do? And then they throw the body off the cliff to stage the scene. And perhaps as well, they could have even gone down and moved the body in the water to the second cove where the body was found. I mean, I'd say that that's very equally plausible. But what Cassie Franks in the Without Warning podcast is trying to shed some light on is she's trying to say that Aaron Lilly was very big on, infidelity, like, well, cheating. I should say cheating. He was very big on cheating on his significant others. He was actually cheating on Hannah Palmer with Cassie Franks at the time of this. Like they had been in a relationship for a while, but they had broken up, but they were still just a little bit involved. And she's trying to say that it's very normal for Aaron to try and do something like that. And I mean, this is, her theory that she has just kind of composed, that she believes Aaron woke up Lauren and he tried to do something to her. And I believe there's something about it, like Lauren was not found wearing any footwear, but her flip-flops were not by the part of the campsite where she was supposed to be staying. Oh, they were by one of the tents. I'm pretty sure that's correct. Her flip-flops were found by one of the tents, and was it Aaron Lilly's tent or something like that? I mean, like, forgive me, like, if those details have escaped me. But the big thing to say about that is what really triggered all this? Was it Aaron Lilly making an advance on Lauren and Hannah Palmer assaulting Lauren? Or did Chris Stout make an advance on Lauren? And did she fall out of the hammock and get injured? Which sounds more plausible? I would definitely say that the Chris Stout theory seems a little bit more, uh, what's the word? Simple. It's a simpler theory. And it kind of eliminates a lot of the assumptions because that would just sort of be like, we know that Chris and Lauren were in the hammock together. As far as making a sexual advance on her in the hammock, I mean, I'm not the most wild guy in the world, but I don't know how successful that would be. I mean, I don't know. I've never really done it in a hammock myself, but if you can, more power to you. But I don't know. That seems a little bit inconvenient or something like that. But fooling around, sure. But okay, I can buy that he would be trying to do something to her. I mean, in the hammock. Excuse me if I went down a really weird turn there, but well, this is one of the things that Sheila Wysocki was talking about on Without Warning. Like this is like a case where once you start getting into it, you end up asking a lot of very, very kind of personal questions. And they were talking so much about Aaron Lilly's sex life, and it's just like, but the reason that they're doing this, it's not just sensationalism and smear tactics and trying to blow things out of proportion. The reason why they're bringing this up is they're trying to find out, was Lauren the victim of sexual assault? And did somebody retaliate against her in a physical manner, causing some injuries? And then people kind of panicked and they threw her body off the cliff and then moved it to the second cove. Is that what happened? I think a lot of the online theories are really looking at the possibility that Lauren Agee was sexually assaulted, that one of these two individuals um, did something to her, and they threw her off the cliff. Sheila Wysocki has alluded to that from the very beginning. Like, I mean, I think I even said that on one of the previous Lauren Agee uploads, a quote from Sheila, where it was like, if Lauren Agee had been walking and just fell off the cliff on by her own fault, her feet would have been torn up. Like, there would have been all sorts of injuries to the bottoms of her feet, but there weren't. So that's just kind of giving the impression that she was either unconscious, badly injured, or already dead before she was thrown off. Always have to bear in mind that there was no water found in Lauren's lungs, right? I mean, like, I hope I'm getting all these details right. So I think that both of these theories that we put forward are somewhat plausible. But the big thing that I wanted to say is we can explore this, that they both come to the same culminating conclusion, and that's that there was a sexual advance gone wrong, and these two individuals, Chris Stout and Aaron Lilly, tried to stage the scene. They tried to fake this as a fall and a drowning, but in reality, there was an attack. This was an assault that went out of control. Um, I'm not necessarily sure who would be. Well, who? I mean, I can ask to the comment section. Who do you think is more likely at fault to kind of be associated with that? Aaron Lilly or Chris Stout? We can definitely say that Aaron Lilly is the more dominant one. He is the more controlling one. And we also have that very famous scene with Chris Stout and Aaron Lilly on the boat talking to the police, where they're talking to the police, and then Aaron silences Chris right in front of the detectives. Just stick to the story. So that tells that I was always kind of wondering about that. Like, what is that more suggestive of? Did Chris make a terrible mistake and Aaron's just like taking control of the situation and saying, I'm covering for you, bro, even for something as extreme as this? It's possible. Or is the Cassie Franks thing like that? Is that what happened? That Aaron liked to wake girls up for sex in the middle of the night, and that was his like that was the thing that he did, and he tried it to Lauren, and Hannah Palmer found out about it, and that started the altercation. Either way, it has the kind of same outcome, and I don't know if we will ever get those super precise details. I know Sheila Wysocki is being very relentless with this, and to her credit, we'll probably get answers in the Lauren Agee case. I don't know if we'll ever have the kind of step by step analysis of all the details that happened unless Chris Stout, Aaron Lilly, or Hannah Palmer comes forward. But what I would say is that these guys really seem to be somewhat problematic. I mean, they're just like they're chaos driven. They were bound to end up in some sort of horrible calamity at some point. They're just very problematic people. I'm talking about Aaron Lilly and Chris Stout. I mean, Chris Stout, of course, went back to jail for DUI. Aaron Lilly got in a horrible accident after this and became paralyzed. Not to mention all the things that happened before them, all the abuse that Cassie Franks describes. And once again, I'll post a link to that podcast segment from Sheila Wysocki where she talks about like being assaulted. She was thrown down the stairs by Aaron Lilly. He was a very aggressive person, very aggressive physically. That's what leads her to believe that it was Aaron who initiated the sexual assault. But, I mean, no matter which way we put it, there's an assault. The guy staged the scene by throwing Lauren off a cliff. Is there anything else to say other than that? Well, if you have any comments at all about the Lauren Agee case, please drop a comment below. I would love to hear from you. Thank you